My name is Megan Locker, and I work at Brock University coordinating the intramural programs. So as we go through, just over the next hour, I'll talk about any pressing issues that anyone has with intramurals, esports, what programming we have done, tried to do, or then are thinking about doing, and seeing if other people have done it yet this year. So just to get started, little bit of background. So at Brock, we were lucky enough to be able to run some limited on campus, as well as then tried some esports, which I found throughout the semester started lacking, just as some students, I guess, as they put it, they were just too busy. They didn't want to be scheduled anymore. Anyways, so that's what we were able to offer. And then just wondering if anyone had any pressing questions that they wanted to start with, what they were able to program, or if they want to share what they were able to do this semester or are doing this semester, or then any ideas or different things that you've thought of for then the future as well. Anything? Perfect. So then, since doesn't look like, pull up the participant list, who was able to run anything on campus this semester? Anyone? Some yeses, some nos. No. So for those of you that ran stuff on campus, so Brock, we were able to run soccer, baseball, badminton, tennis, and then I tried doing horse, but people didn't seem to be interested in that. What other sports or different leagues then were those of you who were able to run on campus, what leagues were you able to run?
We had some lawn games going for a bit at McGill.
Okay.
So cornhole, can jam, spike ball, and what was the other one? Cube. It's kind of like a wooden stick throwing game.
Okay. How'd you manage? So I was thinking of spike ball. How did you manage spike ball with keeping distanced?
Yeah, so that was the one we debated the most, because obviously you can't come in close contact. But pretty much, I mean, at least from like a Quebec standard, like we read kind of the protocols put in place by the government, and it was something about the frequency of close contact. As long as it was like under 15 minutes combined in like an hour activity or something, technically it's okay. I'm making that number up, but there is actually cumulative time where you wouldn't be 6 feet apart was actually listed, and we estimated that with spike ball it would probably be under that time.
What time?
So we gave it the go.
Well, and that was one thing with soccer. Kind of the debate was no deliberate contact. That there may have been a time where, hey, you're close to the other team, but it's a quick, and then you're farther apart. What are some of the other ones? So I saw some other hands up of people that they were able to run some on-campus leagues. What other different leagues were people able to run?
Hi there. My name is Rowena. I'm at Trinity Western University. We were able to run soccer, volleyball, basketball, multi-sport, badminton, and we had a student start up an esports league for the first time. We have a health and safety team at Trinity that we had to submit, or I had to submit proposals to on how we would run them. So initially they were basically skill-based, no games. When we moved into phase 2, they were allowed to play games. And now, since the latest announcement, we've base drills and things like that. Badminton was, one versus one. So yeah, we've been very fortunate that we have been able to run things, and we have, about 500 students on campus. So dorms were allowed to participate as a dorm, which was really good too. It's helped a lot to keep the students active. So yeah, that's how it's been working for us.
Sweet, some very different ones. What multi-sports did you run? You said
So it depends. It runs one night a week, so they just pick the student. All of our intramurals are student led, so the student who runs them just decides on what he wants to run. He did like spike ball and of course basketball and volleyball as well. So, and badminton. Yeah, so just different options
for students. Anyone else have any other different leagues that they were able to run on campus?
We were able to run pickleball. That was a different one. And table tennis. All the other ones were mentioned. So
yeah,
this is soccer and ultimate frisbee. That's another one.
Yeah. And then for those that did run on-campus leagues, did you require masks to be worn while participants were playing? So at Brock, we didn't while participants were playing, but right up until before their game and then right afterwards, they needed to put their mask back on, whether they were outside or inside. So either one. Was anyone else requiring masks while participating, or not? No mask, I think, said Judith, shaking her head.
We required masks like for the non-strenuous lawn games, which was pretty much all of them. So like can jam and beanbag toss, you're just really standing there. So you had to wear a mask, but for spike ball, we didn't require because you're so obviously a little more strenuous.
Rowena, were you gonna?
No, we had no masks were required for ours.
Anyone else with any on-campus leagues that then masks required, not required? Be interesting to see if anyone required masks the entire time and kind of what the take on was that, like how students did that, but.
So we just started basketball and hockey, and they're required to wear their masks every single moment until they actually are on the playing surface, so the ice or the court. So anytime they're on the sidelines or anywhere else, masks are on.
And how are students taking that, I guess? So especially with hockey, do they have a full cage that then, they take off their mask as soon as they step on the ice, or from dressing room, if they are allowed to use dressing rooms?
Yeah, so they use the dressing rooms, and they're supposed to wear it in the hallway, right to the bench, to the ice. And they're doing a really good job because, well, we just started the league, but they know that it can be shut down very quickly if they don't comply. So they were told that, and it's really good. They're following those rules. They were told some tips like, you're responsible for your own mask. So bring a Ziploc bag with your name written on it and keep it in there because there's not a lot of storage, but it's a process, but we have facility rules, and everyone's different with all the different hockey leagues, but we're being pretty strict.
Kevin?
Hello, I have a question for Rowena, actually. In particular, the dorm-specific leagues that you mentioned, were there any leagues that you were able to offer because of the dorm specificity, or I'm not saying it very well, but because you're able to like enact only dorms playing at one time, like people within one building, did that open up your possibilities to offering alternative sports, whereas other sports, you were allowed different dorms to interact together, but you weren't allowed to play certain sports with those types of students? Like what did that enable you to do?
Actually, our dorm, we were able to, students were able to participate in intramurals even if they weren't a part of a dorm. So we had both options. So I guess they were part of, the dorms was just another option if they wanted to come together to play. That just made it easier to have them come. There was a bit of difficulties with that though, because with our soccer intramurals, we thought, oh, that would be great because you have, you know, up to 12 people in a dorm. There you can have two teams playing against each other. But we actually ran into difficulties with that because just because there's 12 people in a dorm doesn't mean they all want to play soccer or they're all interested in playing soccer. So it was actually difficult. We thought, oh, here's an easy way to get the students active and getting them involved. But it didn't actually turn out that way. But with our other sports, they were allowed to play like outside, like other, like students from individual or different dorms were allowed to come together and play, even though they weren't part of the same dorm.
Okay, and then are there any sports that anyone's looking to running for the, I guess for the winter semester? So that you weren't able to run, or then anyone that wasn't able to run on campus for the fall, looking at opening up, and having any questions about how things ran, or safety protocols that were followed. So I guess one interesting thing that I found, so we surveyed all of our participants once the leagues were done, because we're done our on-campus leagues right now. And a lot of, actually I wouldn't say a lot of students, but we asked about how safe students felt coming on campus and participating. And because what we were hearing week to week was that students were looking forward to coming and playing and looking forward to their scheduled games and coming on campus. But then in the survey, so the same thing, we want to find out if there's then anything else safety-wise that we could do. And I was surprised at the number of, I guess, soccer respondents said that games could be played wearing a mask. So that is something that, considering going forward, that we thought a lot of students would, I guess, not want to, but with that, then students saying that, hey, masks could be worn while participating was, I guess, interesting to me, because I wouldn't necessarily want to be running around playing soccer with a mask on, but I understand then the potential safety side of it. So with any other sports, or with most likely more things being inside, so our soccer was outside, more things being inside, any other different safety protocols that anyone is following? Like, did anyone, or is anyone considering doing temperature checks before coming in, or mask the entire time, anything like that anyone's doing?
How popular were people that ran tennis and badminton, like any racket sports? Because pretty much all we're allowed to do in Quebec right now inside. So I'm thinking of doing that in the winter, but just wondering, whoever is running it, how popular those activities were.
Yeah, so we did badminton and we had 18 participants. I think by the end of the league we had 16, because 2 people ended up moving home, like didn't come back after reading week. And then tennis we had 8, which is kind of on par, kind of is not as popular to begin with anyways, but yeah, that was outside. Judith, you guys had pickleball. How did that one go?
We actually had a full slot for pickleball. Based on our capacity limits, I was only allowed, I think it's 8 participants. So that one filled up pretty quickly, along with badminton as well. Badminton, I had 16, and then I had an extra like 10 people on the waiting list. So that one was pretty popular, I think. Tennis, the same thing. We had about 4 slots. Yeah, that one was about the same of like 12 participants, and that one filled as well. But our women's league didn't fill. We were missing like 1 participant, but we still ran it with 3 self-identifying females. So, yeah.
Any other racket sports? No. Yeah, so got a good number, but I guess it depends on the demographic and what students may be interested in as well. My thoughts, so next semester we're looking at running pickleball as well, and it's one that we can advertise that not necessarily a lot of students have played their entire life, or have played a lot of, so just a new and different one to be able to kind of come out and get involved as well. So as we're going through, I guess, transition, so since there were a lot of schools that were unable to run in-person leagues, interested then in what esports or virtual leagues schools were able to run. And then I'm curious if anyone was using any of the different esports software, so the I guess scheduling softwares that are available, as there are quite a few of them, and then how those went. So for those running different esports, so what here at Brock we did, I just used IM Leagues and kind of did my own scheduling with the games that were scheduled being the deadline to play games by, and each participant was then responsible for contacting their opponent and finding a mutually beneficial time to play their games. But curious then what other schools were doing and how then that uptake was from students.
Hi.
Victoria?
So my name is Michelle. Sorry. So we ran. We actually collaborated with our clubs, our student clubs, and we're running 3 leagues. Like any other sport league, they play weekly. We kind of just did that. We didn't have a huge turnout. We're running League of Legends and Valorant and FIFA. League of Legends and Valorant, we have 8 teams, but there are 5 players, so it was each. So it was pretty good, but it was easy to do the schedule. I just kind of did it. And FIFA too, we only have 10 players, and it's an individual game, so it's really, it's not hitting a wide variety of students, but we're going to offer it again. It's in collaboration with our club anyway, so why not? We're completely not allowed on campus, so we haven't run anything in person because we haven't been given the okay for that. But I also just wanted to ask Ryan, what was your turnout for the lawn games? Did you have a lot of people register or participate?
Yeah, we had 36 teams of 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Hi, I'll jump in. My name is also Michelle. I'm from Seneca, and we ran 2 esports leagues, but we didn't host them ourselves. The first one, we did the NBA 2K through the OCR, and then we did the FIFA through CCAA. Neither were particularly successful as far as participants go, although one of our students did win the OCR tournament, so that was exciting for us. But there was a lot of, and this wasn't just us, this was across the board apparently, with people just not showing up for their tournaments or their, I don't know the terminology, quite honestly, their sport game,
Scheduled match or game.
Scheduled match. Thank you so much. So so I think that was a bit of an issue across the board, but we are going to try to join into the, yes, thank you, Jen. So we are going to try to join in. There's a NASCAR one coming up that's being run through, I think it's Holland. university or college that I got information about that we're going to jump on that one as well. We just don't find that they're as popular, and we're trying to only stick to the sports ones, not the, shooting ones.
That's kind of where we fell as well. This is the first semester that we ever tried to do any sort of esports. And same thing, we just stuck to NBA, Madden, FIFA, and NHL. We had lots of people try to register with us, but not a lot matched up with the same console and the same game. So it was kind of hit or miss. So we had a couple people be able to get some games in, but other than that, that was pretty much it. So.
Go ahead, Michelle.
That was like, we kind of had the same thought too, but that was one of the only like advantages of like Valorant and League of Legends, was that they're played on a computer. And so a lot of more people, and like I said, we collaborated with the club, so they already kind of had a running group of like participants that was regular participants. So, but yeah, it's not an ideal. I think that sticking with this, or even like Rocket League too, it's more or less sport, but yeah.
We ran GI at Western. We ran 6 different leagues, and each league we had all the NBA, FIFA, NHL, and Madden. We also added Super Smash Brothers and Rocket League. And then within each league, depending on which console you can play on, we offered all of them. So for example, Super Smash was Nintendo Switch. The sport games we offered on PS4 and Xbox. Rocket League we offered on all consoles, including PC. And then we offered different levels too, so beginner and advanced in each one. And by our 3 biggest games by far were FIFA, Rocket League, and Super Smash Brothers. And we probably had about 30 to 40 in each of those ones. We had roughly about 170 people registered in all.
Great.
Key is that Rocket League and Super Smash Brothers, is that cross-platform? Can you have the different consoles and computer all play them, or are they separate as well?
Rocket League is across all platforms. And Super Smash Brothers are working on it, but they only had it on Nintendo Switch right now.
Okay.
So I guess Rocket League was one of the first ones to do all platforms. And that one was really big. And next semester, we already added 4 new games. We added where you can, so some games, you can play just one person or you can have partners. So Rocket League, we added 2 people teams. And then we added League of Legends, where you can play by yourself or you can play teams of 5. League of Legends are on PC only. And then we also added Major League Baseball, which is on, I think, the Xbox and PS4.
So is no one using, or is anyone using any, I guess, outside vendor to be able to schedule their games, or are they scheduling them themselves? Like, what are you using to be able to schedule games, communicate with participants, for your registration, any of that? Is it different from what your in-person intramural leagues would be?
We're doing all ours on IM Leagues, and it is slightly different scheduling on there versus like the regular leagues. With your game ID number and all that, you have to obviously set it up slightly different.
Yeah, we're using IM Leagues too. Yeah, we just asked them to switch their like team name to their gamer tag, so it's they're easier to find online. And we also create a Google Sheet with contact, so email and phone number as well, so they can contact each other to schedule a time to play. But yeah, I don't think we're big enough to, each league probably has 20 max people, so we're not big enough to be using some other software. I think we looked into like Mission Control was one of them, but yeah, we're just not there yet.
I know Cheryl's on this call. I had a conversation with her a couple of weeks ago, and one of her concerns was privacy. do you guys know much about that? So sharing names and emails and phone numbers with them? I mean, gotcha. Okay.
We asked them first too. Yeah, it's in like the right, like when they registered. It's
So just kind of giving consent sort of thing. Saying,
exactly.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
My issue is more like if they're have mics set up during the match, like we have no idea what's going on. We do ask them, we also have a score reporting form, so we do ask them to fill out a sportsmanship rating. So maybe we would get some sort of feedback there if someone is kind of mouthing off online, but yeah, it's kind of an unknown area when they schedule that time and they're playing together. Like we have no control kind of what's happening during that time, but
we put that too in our registration, just like almost like consent, just saying that like we're not responsible for anything that's said amongst players, but that, you know, like we have our code of ethics and we'll handle situations based on whatever happens. But that, and yeah, that was something that we're not there, we're not in the game, we can't, so, or even what they would text to each other, I don't know, but yeah, no issues yet.
I was gonna say same here, put it in kind of the rules and kind of opening communication to participants, and nothing's come up, which is good. Hopefully nothing happened, but yeah, who knows if they even have that set up to be able to. And yeah, definitely for the I guess privacy stuff is we ask them first, or ask them if it's okay to share email, and try and stick to kind of the gamer tag for a lot of the different sports. Are there is anyone running with any like first person shooter games, or kind of those more competitive, or like I guess the different games that students could participate in to potentially win money, like in other tournaments or other competitions? Anyone with intramurals running any of those, or have you tried to run any of those, or thought of running any of those, and then reasons maybe why you aren't?
I'm not sure if this is like your question, but we did enter a team, like one of our intramural Rocket League team, into the OPSC, like the Ontario Post-Secondary Esports League. They can win money there, but that was it. Yeah.
And I guess that one's a little bit more because it's I guess money that then goes to their enrollment for the next year, so it stays within the school, versus then a cash prize that they get that money cash, right?
I can't remember actually. They get like bursary, like money, I think. I can't actually remember right now, but yeah, I don't know if it's cash. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's a bursary. It's not cash.
Yeah. That's what I was pretty sure, but I was like, I might be wrong here. Kevin?
So here's just, I guess, a different perspective. I was on a call, I think like a year and a half ago, and there was a lady from Michigan who was talking about their esports club that was sanctioned by the rec department. And they considered it similar to their fishing club, which was a competitive fishing club. And apparently years ago, the competitive fishing club entered a tournament and won a boat. And so instead of the person taking hold of that boat, it went to the club, and the club now owns the boat. Just a weird perspective, but basically because that precedent was set with this fishing club, they now use that as justification for their esports recreation club going forward, as if anyone in the club wins any money, it's possession of the club, not necessarily the school, not necessarily the person who won it, but the club can use it as their own resources moving forward.
Which is a good way to think about it. Or then also it's, I guess, the club that they are representing as they're competing in competition. Yeah, has anyone kind of broached the first person shooter games at all, or staying more towards the sports based games?
I mentioned it before, but we're playing Valor. We have a Valorant league running. But yeah.
Oh, Inky says no shooter games for Western. It's same as Ryan. Yeah, so seems to be the same. Here at Brock, we've stayed away from them as well. Just we have, so our esports club is under our students union, and so they kind of run with some of those games that they can stay there, stay with that, and we'll stick with the kind of intramural or sports based things. So that's kind of what we've been looking at, and then trying to then just get interest and get that kind of interest in esports, or see where that interest is.
I have one quick question. So for lots of you that have been doing this e-gaming, is this very new to you guys, or I guess the groups that have done it and have very good participation, has this been a couple of years in the making, or is this all of a sudden when September come, now you guys got all these people?
So I would say, so for Brock, I started it in the spring once the pandemic hit. So very new, and was then a different way to engage students. But yeah, ours hasn't been kind of great numbers. So yeah. Anyone else? When did everyone, like, Guy, you sound like you have great numbers in your leagues. When did you guys start esports? Or Michelle, did you have something?
I was just going to pop in and say at Seneca, our student federation has a huge esports league that is run completely separate from us in the athletics and recreation department. But they do a lot of the shooting games that we are not promoting. So we try to stay completely away from esports forever. And then as soon as it's like, well, we can't run anything at the moment, so let's try esports and sort of jump on this bandwagon of doing something. So that's why we did it. But when the two came out that we got involved with, which were NBA and FIFA, that's why we chose to join into those two, because they were sport related. So they sort of fell under the athletics and recreation umbrella. But I do know, like I said, that our student federation has a big e-gaming club, and they don't want to kind of join in with us because, like you all were saying before, they do those shooting games and can make a lot of money from them. And so they just do their own thing. And I don't know that we'll continue it, although now that we've started, I don't know that we'll stop, but we'll sort of see where things take us.
Well, how are your, I guess, registration numbers, that if you were to stop, would it be, I guess, sorely missed, or?
Not at all. Not at all. I think we had a interest in both the two that we joined, but then there was interest, but there wasn't necessarily follow through. Some people thought that they could come on campus and use our consoles, the consoles that we don't own and are non-existent. So that's not an option. Plus, our campus is completely closed at the moment, so no one's on campus. So when they figured out they needed their own consoles and their own games and everything, that limited some people. So I think we had maybe 3 that got involved with the NBA 2K, and not all of them finished. And again, same sort of numbers with the FIFA one. So neither here nor there. If we never didn't run it again, it wouldn't be missed at all.
Yeah. Anyone else going to continue running esports, I guess, once students are back on campus and able to run kind of a full slate of intramural programming otherwise?
At Sheridan, we've been running some form of esports for a few years. My coworker who works at the Oakville campus that has the game design program has been running different things like Smash Brothers, League of Legends, tournaments like that for a few years. And that's partially because the interest at that campus for physical intramurals just wasn't there. But it's a art dominant campus. And this summer we've been doing what it sounds like what most people are doing here, like your FIFA, your NBA. Nothing really ran well or feedback for like a league. It's just tournaments. So it would be over with in like 3-4 days. And we'll probably continue something after this because we already do have some resources there in Oakville for those other tournaments, like the Smash Brothers, the stuff my coworker Nadine's been doing for a few years. So I do imagine we'll continue it in some capacity, but nothing too crazy.
And then, so Rory, do you guys have on-campus resources to be able to use for the tournaments that you do run?
Yeah, we have a few consoles and a big screen TV. And I know we're evaluating it too to incorporate some like smaller screens. When I look at Durham or St. Clair, that they have like gaming lounges, what they use is like, they have like 20 screens. It's crazy. So yeah, we have some systems and resources already there. So.
I'll jump in there, Megan. Hey, it's Jen from Humber. And so I kind of was the back end of doing the OCR tournament, the NBA 2K. Like Michelle said, there was a lot of engagement. A lot of people were interested and registered with their own department. But when it came time for them to register online through IM Leagues, we lost 50% of the participants right there. Just from instead of a walk-in to a go online, half the people left. The OCR tournament came down to, so 5 different schools made it to playoffs, which was awesome to see. And on our campus, we're looking to maybe partner with our academic departments. So we have video game programming as well on campus. So looking at them for either helping us virtually or helping us with consoles if we ever get the chance to do an on-person event.
Sounds great. And different, opportunity, and especially being able to partner and not have it, I guess, solely on recreation to try and spearhead that there's multiple different interests across campus that may be able to do it. Chris OCR is the Ontario College, recreation.
Meg, we started in Peter at McMaster. We started in September because we had nothing else. But our management was still not fully on board with it. I know that some people will still have that issue. But there's, from what I've learned and seen around, not to worry. A lot of what we're doing, the schools in the States have been just taking off with it, like just gone and running. But there were a lot of webinars and whatnot in the summer. One of the guy that runs Geeks, which is one of the platforms, mentioned that, you know what, you could have it at any level. And what it sounds like a lot of us are doing, which is letting people play on their own consoles to try and generate interest, is the most basic level. So we're not out, just kind of trying and then build from there. I've done the same thing with just running stuff through Ryan Leagues, let people enter their scores and whatnot. I got 20 people for FIFA and 2 people for Madden 2K. You know what I mean? So it's hit and miss, but we're still offering it. I think it's going to be, it depends on how long the pandemic shuts down our in-person stuff, that it's going to determine what we run. If I don't see any further development from it, I'm not going to run. but it's also what I've also learned from all these different things is that there's a big difference in what you're trying to run for intramurals and what you're going to try to run for a club. So you have to decide what what you want for your program, that kind of thing, because it's two different realms of games and competition. And like I look at it that the students that are into gaming, they're not necessarily coming to us first for gaming. They're already doing it somewhere else. Yes, we could offer it for somebody that is interested in trying and that kind of thing. But it really depends on how you're set up. I was really interested to hear if anyone used one of these services, because I'm finding that depending on what the cost is, it might be easier just to use Geeks, Steam, GG Leap, whichever one, to just host it for you and you monitor. But and as we talked about, some of the things I found or been hearing is that when people get on Discord and like get into their chats and whatever, it goes out the window. I know, and I don't think she's here, I know Laurie ran stuff through one of those services, and they had to ban like 5 kids within the first week because it was just getting out of hand. So it really is what you want to take on, how much you're willing to spend on it, because it could go far. Like at MAC, we have a club that runs, that participates and whatever, but they're not affiliated with our department. And because management doesn't want to go that way, sorry, managers on the call, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with it, but it's going to come a point where we're going to have to decide holistically, because it is a community. It is a community of kids, just like it is a community for baseball, basketball, all the traditional sports. So one question I had related to that, did anybody run, I know we might not be done talking about like actual esports, but did anybody run any board games, phone games? I know Rin did mention some when he did the thing in the summer. Did anybody run that stuff, and how successful was it? I ran Word with Friends too, and it was all right. We got 10 people, but we ran into the issue of people just not participating. Anybody run anything else that worked well?
We ran Settlers of Catan. We had 24 people, which I was happy with.
Yeah.
It was two separate leagues, an advanced league and an intermediate league.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they just played through the app, Catan Universe.
Okay.
And yeah, again, we set up something on IM Leagues, gave them the gamer tag.
Yeah.
That was a bit harder because whoever starts the game has to have all these people as friends on the app.
Okay.
So we kind of designated a game captain, and that game captain had to add all the friends.
Okay.
So a lot of work for that captain to do. But what I
curious
also
how you did that one.
yeah, but what I also found out, you can create a guild. So I created a McGill intramural guild, and I added all those people myself to the guild. So then the game captain can just search in the guild and find the people easier. Everyone said they enjoyed it, and we're gonna run it again in the winter, and they were all interested in returning. And a few of them also said if we could add a chess league as well. So I'm looking at chess for the winter.
Yeah. Did you see any others? I know you put me onto Words with Friends, but did you see any others? I know there were a couple in the States. I don't even know what Settlers of Catan is, so it's something to look into.
Yeah, again, I think I got a lot of the ideas from like a webinar, like from the States. So
yeah,
I'm sure there's tons of schools doing stuff there. But I can't think of anything in Canada. I don't know if anyone can say.
I just started Words with Friends, and then new game that some of you may have heard of is Among Us.
Yes.
So Words with Friends is running, And then, yeah, Among Us, so Judith just said that as well, is, yeah, you're trying to find like the intruder, and same as Settler. So you'd have to find the friends and send out kind of a room code type thing to then the people who are playing, and have interest, but not enough to kind of run a league or a tournament. So just connected the participants that were interested in playing, so then they could figure it out themselves. But those are the two phone ones that we introduced. But interesting to hear that Settlers work, because like I played that with my friends and I didn't even think of it as one that then some students may want. So it'd be interesting for the winter.
Yeah, I'm now starting to look into this stuff for the winter, so trying to get ideas.
Any other kind of non-traditional esports that, or kind of virtual games or anything that anyone's running?
I didn't want to. I didn't know if you had done the esports, like typical esports talk. But the other question I had was, did anybody run any fantasy sports at all? I ran fantasy football because I do it personally. But I just wanted to see if anybody did it, or if it worked for them. Like I got the idea from, again, schools in the States. It went well. We had 10 people sign up. You have to run it through one of the external sites, Yahoo, ESPN, NFL. But it is a bit of a, for want of a better word, cultish thing. So only if they played it before would they have signed up. And like it's all guys, the guys that are in there, they know what they're doing, like they've been doing it. So it's just another league, it seemed like to them. But it was, I could see maybe that sticking around if more people know about it. I'm probably going to try to run fantasy basketball in the winter. It just gets tricky because the quote unquote playoffs don't align with how we want to run our league years. So you have to kind of keep monitoring it. And it doesn't really get, doesn't take too much. You have to set it up and whatnot, but monitoring it is not bad. So, but I guess nobody else did. So if you have questions and you want to try it, let me know.
We run trivia every Tuesday night.
Nice.
And we get around 200 people every Tuesday. So that's probably our best, most successful online activity. Not really recreation related at all, but I think the majority of the teams are all intramural participants that were on a soccer team or basketball team or whatever. So it's just keeping them together and kind of reconnecting them. But yeah, that's been our best thing by far.
Do you have somebody that thinks up the questions, or do you use a site to take all of the questions to use?
A lot of Googling on my part. Honestly, it takes me about a full day to do it. But yeah, I'm in such a trivia mode now that I'm just walking down the street and I just like see something. I'm like, oh, that could be a trivia category. Like, it's kind of taken over my life. But
yeah, we started
it's
doing.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah, we started doing it as well, and it became very popular. And yeah, like I do 50 questions, and that's like 4 hours of work. It takes a long time to find these questions. But
do you guys do just any kind of themes to them, or general random questions, whatever you think of that week?
I try to do 10 questions per theme kind of thing, and then just have 5 different themes on the night. So
yeah, same 10 questions, and then it's a new round, a new theme.
And then how do you run it? Like, what platform do you use to run it?
We use Kahoot is what we've been using, and then we just run it through Zoom.
Nice.
Yeah, we're the same, but we use Mentimeter. It's basically the same thing as Kahoot. Um, I don't know if Kahoot's changed this, but when we looked into Kahoot, it only rewarded points on faster answers, or there was some setting that I couldn't change, so that's why I switched to Mentimeter. But they're literally the exact same platforms, because we kind of wanted the groups to have a chance to like discuss with their team, because we put them in breakout rooms. So if you're rewarding for faster answers, it kind of limits cheating, but then the team can't really talk the answer out.
Yeah.
It would just be like the team leader would always click the answer as fast as they can. So
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that was one thing I know that we were trying to eliminate was Googling, obviously.
yeah.
You want them to actually try to answer the question, but yeah.
Chris, do you guys have teams, or is it more than individual since it's
Just
the project?
individually. We like 50-ish, definitely not 200, but one of our more popular things as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the breakout room route is a little more work. I think I start the meeting a half hour early, and I have to sort like 200 people into breakout rooms. So it takes me about 30 minutes to do that. They just change their name on Zoom, so I know where to put them. So yeah, it's a bit more work to put into teams.
We had toyed with doing it over Discord, but we just ended up doing the Zoom route and going that way.
And then, so Clifford said that they've done trivia, bingo, and Pictionary nights. Curious how, Clifford,
How do you do
share a
that?
little bit more how you did Pictionary.
So with Pictionary, actually, we only started that recently. So we actually do that on Scriblio. So what we do is that so basically a couple of people, we break them out into breakout rooms, and then they basically play in there. So basically how it ends up working is that there's a winner in every single room for each of them for Pictionary.
Okay.
And then for bingo, I actually use what I found actually while I was researching during the summers is a website called bingomaker.com that actually like you can do like bingo nights, do virtual cards all for free. I mean, it's a bit more limited because you can only do it that make the cards at intervals of 25, so like 25, 50, 75, stuff like that. But so then sometimes if you don't have the right number, you might have extra cards that just sitting out there that if they get a bingo, then it's like, oh, no one has this card. So you just keep going. But it's been going well so far. Like it started off a bit slower, but we've been gaining traction. More people are joining every other week. So what we do, we actually do these bi-weekly. So we do it every Monday night. So basically one Monday would be bingo, the following Monday would be trivia, and then we rotated there. And we started Pictionary actually this month running on Wednesday nights. So it's been gaining traction. We started off like 5 or 10 like for the first week. We're up to like 25, 30, 40 now each night. So it's gaining traction. It's getting a lot better actually.
That's good to hear. Get the students involved. And I guess so we decided not to do any trivia or anything like that, but our students union was running trivia. And so as they've gone through the semester, we've just kind of reshared their Instagram stories or different posts that way and kind of push students that way instead of each different area posting. So one thing that then Brock put together, some staff at Brock put together, was the I guess introduction of a virtual programming kind of group. So individuals from different areas across campus, so international or students union, student life, recreation, just to share what everyone's doing or everything that's going on. So like tonight, the like student life along with kind of career services and tutoring, they're doing the night against procrastination. So then everyone is able to kind of put programming together or kind of share programming that then anything that's like available that night, whether it's a study break session or different tutoring, things like that. And yeah, so going through all of that then we've been able to share different virtual things that are going on. So then there's not 5 different trivia nights that are happening on the same day. Just being able to then steer students in the right direction for then what is going on. One question then, or kind of getting to the end of our hour, but I'm curious to know, and I guess this came up in the survey that Randy from Ryerson sent out, that hopefully majority of you guys received and were able to answer, and thanks for everyone that did, because I think it's good feedback. But one of the questions there was, how are people marketing? So I know walking through the halls on campus, normally we have posters up, or students are able to have those natural conversations about what they've seen or what they're interested in signing up for. So curious how everyone is marketing, or then and potentially trying to get students that they otherwise don't have, I guess, access to. Like Masters, Peter saying social media, so it's definitely one that we've used, but then you're still reaching the same students that are already following you. Anyone else with?
We've asked Res Life to kind of send out emails. They use, I forget what they call it, but they have a specific chat. I think it's similar to something like Slack. They have it amongst their students on Res, and they just blast out messages through there alongside their just regular email chain every week. So.
Okay.
So we actually are working with our marketing communication department. So what we have gotten them to do is they're actually going to be promoting all of our social media posts through Moodle as well, through eClass sorry now, so that basically students that we don't normally reach can actually see what's going on and see that we're doing things, that we're hoping that it'll generate more interest for people to come out to our events.
That's good. Yeah, I guess I found it definitely difficult trying to think of different ways to reach students that aren't necessarily in our like following Brock Recreation already. So just interesting to hear what others are doing, and definitely that collaboration across campus. Anyways, are there any other pressing issues that anyone has that they'd like to talk about or ask others that are still here? Nope, perfect. Thanks guys for attending the session. Hopefully you got something out of it, keeping in mind that it is recorded. And feel free, if you have any follow-up questions, to reach out to myself or Jenna, who was on the call earlier, or if then someone brought up something that you want to ask them. I'm sure that everyone in this group is willing to kind of share ideas and talk some more if anyone does have any further follow-up questions or things they think of later. For those of you in Ontario, as you can see by the fact that it's gotten darker in the room I'm in, because I didn't turn on the light because it was bright in here when I first got in. It is now 5 o'clock in Ontario, so the end of my day now. For those of you not, enjoy the rest of your days, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to you guys later.
Thank
Bye.
you.